Hi, I'm Jeff Clark of the Pater Prospector here at the Metals Investor Forum in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. And I'm here with Darcy Marud of Western Exploration, a company I'm really excited about, I'm invested in. Darcy, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me again, Jeff. Appreciate it.
So one thing that initially attracted me to the company was you and your background and the successes you've had. So would you please give us a quick overview of the Darcy Marud success stories as a geologist?
I will. First of all, I don't like talking about myself much.
Sure.
But I'll give you a quick review. So I'm a geologist by training. I started working in industry in the mid 80s. So I've got almost 40 years under my belt. Explains the gray hair. I started in northern British Columbia in the Yukon with Homestake Mining. They transferred me down to Chile in 1991. They had identified a new project. I went there, met my wife in Chile, and shortly after that joined a company called FMC Gold Corp, which became Meridian Gold. And at that time, we discovered a very significant gold-silver deposit in northern Chile called El Peñón. So that really kind of launched me on a career in the gold space with a company as high quality as Meridian. They were purchased by Yamana Gold in 2007. I stayed on with Yamana as VP of Exploration and ultimately ended my career with Yamana in 2017 as Executive Vice President of Strategy. And joined Western in 2017, just attracted to the asset, which I think is a very high quality asset in a very good jurisdiction. I was living in Reno at the time, so it made a lot of sense. And a couple of the board members, Gerard Munera and Brian Kennedy, I'd worked with. Brian was the CEO of Meridian when I was there, and Gerard was on the board. So it just seemed to all fit together at that point. But yeah, it's been a great career, and I'm fortunate to still be working with great people and great assets.
Yeah, that's great. Let's talk about those assets, because you have two different things going on. You have that are two different types of deposits. So can you walk us through each deposit, what's happening there, and maybe what we have to look forward to, what you think you might find at each of these deposits?
Of course. So we do have three different resource areas on the Aura project. One project is about 62 square kilometers, but three different resources. The one that we're drilling right now is called Gravel Creek, and it was a discovery made by our company in 2013. The first hole actually hit the mineralization, and since that time, we've drilled about 100 drill holes. We've got a resource of about 800,000 ounces gold equivalent, Gravel Creek. And then last year, we tested the hanging wall zoner to the east of the deposit, where we had some very high-grade hits from the past, but never followed up. And we were able to connect the dots there into some very high-grade epithermal veins that are averaging over 25 gram per ton gold.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So significant grade. They're a little narrower than the original deposit, which is about 20 meters wide, but the combination of grade and width from the mix of them, I think, will ultimately lead us to a very significant deposit there. So we're drilling that right now. We expect to have results in the market, in the next 2 to 4 weeks. And I think right through to the end of November, we'll reporting those results. So we see a path at Gravel Creek from discovery to significantly expanding that deposit here in the short term.
That's great.
And at Doby George, which is to the west, it's very different from Gravel Creek in that it's in the older sedimentary rocks. It's more like Jarrett Canyon and Big Springs, which are located immediately to the south of us, between 25 and 10 kilometers to the south. And we've drilled out an oxide deposit there, about 500,000 ounces. We just completed a financing of about 1.7 million Canadian to advance that towards a pre-feasibility. And we're going to be doing that over the next 6 to 12 months. But we think there we've got the potential to expand that to depth. We know that Jarrett Canyon and Big Springs both started as oxide operations, but the vast majority of what they've mined has gone into the sulfide.
Yeah.
So we're looking at proposing some exploration drilling at Doby into the sulfide zone to extend that deposit. So like you said, we've got two things on the go. They're a little bit different. One's volcanic hosted, and that Gravel Creek deposit is more similar to Midas and Sleeper, which historically were two of the highest grade operations in northern Nevada. Same age rocks, same type of mineralogy. So we're very excited about the potential of growing that into the next major low sulfidation deposit in northern Nevada.
That's great. And you just did a raise, or I don't know if it's closed yet, but you've got a raise that's going to close. So you may not need money real soon. Is that a fair?
Well, that raise will close on Tuesday of next week, the 24th. And it's about 1.7 million, but it's going to go strictly to Doby George.
Yeah.
So we're currently drilling Gravel Creek. We expect to have results, as I said, and before the month is out, or before the month of October is out. And at that point, we're going to look at those results see what we have in the treasury, and maybe we need to add some more to the treasury to keep those drills going as long as possible. I think once you've started drilling good ore and you've got drills, you don't want to let them go.
Right.
So we're assessing that right now. With our current treasury, we have about 4.5 million Canadian in the bank.
Ooh.
So we've still got some good money, but as we drill, a lot of that's going to be spent. That's what we're supposed to be doing. So that's what we're doing.
That's great. Well, if you have another raise, count me in, and I know some others that will want to be in on that as well.
Of course, Jeff, of course.
So I describe this as a deposit that, 1.3 million now, I believe, that could potentially go to 2 on the next drill campaign or the next drilling until you actually update the resource. I know you can't say, but I can say it. 2 million ounces may be coming. Is that a fair assessment on my part?
I think that's entirely fair. From the footprint that we see of the mineralization in the resource and that portion that we're drilling right now that's not in the resource, the footprint is there to get to that kind of number.
That's what brought me into the stock. I was a really big, visited the booth a lot, let's say at the PDAC reception. That was one reason why. So what are the next catalysts that we can see, Darby, over the next, say, 6 to 12 months?
Certainly the drilling will be the key one. And I think that's going to be from, the next couple of weeks all the way into the end of November, maybe start of December. We just announced metallurgy on that new high-grade discovery.
Oh, that's right. We forgot to talk about that. Tell us about that real quick.
Yeah, that metallurgy, I think, shows a path for recovery of this new zone. So I think it was very important at the start. You find something new, but can you extract it? So we wanted to get that metallurgical work done. And it is almost identical to the original Gravel Creek deposit that it is cyanide refractory, but it floats very well to a concentrate. So we're getting about 95% recovery of the gold, 90% of the silver to a float con with a very tight weight pull of about 10%. So that average concentrate grade is about 2 ounces of gold and over 50 ounces per ton silver.
That's very impressive for a refractory deposit, am I right?
Correct. And we need to remember that in Nevada, there's a number of autoclaves and roasters that currently buy concentrates. So it's not like we're going to need to send this very far if we're looking to do an offsite milling type of scenario.
Point.
On the other hand, we know from Gravel Creek that we can get up to 60% cyanide recovery of the concentrate. So we'll do future test work to see if we can do a fine grind, intense cyanidization to maybe do a doré path right on site. So that's work to be done in the future.
So you've talked here at the Metals Investor Forum. What's the main message that you would like investors to get out of this conference? So the main message you want to present to investors right now?
We're delivering on what we said we'd do. We've got this high-grade discovery. We're drilling it right now, but we haven't forgot the rest of the project like Doby George.
Right.
We're working in the background to secure some value creation there for our shareholders. So, we're focused on what we said we were going to do, and we'll keep growing the project as we can.
That's great. Great to hear. So thanks for joining me. I'm Jeff Clark of the Paydirt Prospector here at the Metals Investor Forum. Thanks for watching.